Hello, Judy from Thistledew Creations here. Today we're going to try our hands at a shaker card, which I've never done before. I get the concept of it clearly in my mind, but I've never done it. I found these spooky stencil cards from Osborne at a thrift store yesterday, and I'm doing an ephemera swap for Halloween and fall. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be all Halloween or all fall, but I'm doing a mixture anyway. Just so that I have the videos too. So I'm gonna line this up with my card here and trace the actual size of my card onto this cardstock behind. And then I'm gonna trace the actual cauldron and the bubbles. So that gives me an idea of how big I want to cut my clear sheet. So I want to do a clear sheet, put some glitter and beads and stuff like that inside, and then another clear sheet on the back. So on the front at least, I want to avoid having it overlapping this cauldron. So that's going to be trickier. I might have to just kind of cut it rough, zigzags cutting up here, and then when I get up here I'm going to have to go like this, but I may have to do it a couple of times to see exactly where I want it. But I know I don't want to come too close to the edges, so I'm going to give myself sort of a rounded bottom on the clear acetate, and then come up so that it's not too close to the edge. And then when I get up here, this is where I want to start turning in. I'm just going to go like this for now, and I'm going to refine that in a second. I'll go like this and down. I just want to kind of give this side a bit of a curve in here to sort of follow the shape of the cauldron. I could do the same thing here too. And then it's this part that's a little tricky. So if I'm going to have this like this, I need to come in a little further. So let's see, where'd my pencil go? I want to come over the top of the bubbles and more like this. Something like that. So now I need to cut 2 of these. And that gives me like a good 1/4 inch overlap on top of the card. Yeah. So I need to cut 2 of these. I think I can use black marker on this stuff. I'm just going to start with using 1 sheet. My Sharpie marker so I can draw it out, because I don't think I'm going to have luck holding this in place very well. So just the shape, and I could go just like, I'll cut right in the middle of this line, and then this piece will actually be just a touch bigger than my cardboard piece, which will be fine. It'll give me more room for my glue. I'm going to use the 3-in-1 glue. I think what I'm going to do, I think that will fit. Not quite, but it will fit this way. So I'm going to cut up here. I'm going to go straight up. I'm going to cut across the top here. And then before I cut this one out, I'm going to sandwich two together, just so I only have to do it once. And what I'll do is just a little scrap or two of washi tape. This is used washi tape that I got in, on a package in a swap or something. So it's good for stuff like this. It's not enough to do much with decorating wise or craft wise, but it's good for this. So I'll just hold that together in a couple spots. And then I'm going to continue my cutting out. I'm cutting right sort of in the middle of the line. The black line almost disappears. And I'm doing the zigzag because I think it's easier to kind of have a good looking edge. Cutting out something that's sort of stiff and hard to cut. It would be hard to get a really smooth edge all the way around it. So I got two the same. I've got to keep them both facing the same way because it's not symmetrical. I'm not sure, I might cut a few circles or something, but I don't know if my circle punch will cut this, so I'll set it aside for now and play with that later. And then I'll get my card. I think I'm going to put the back on first, and the back is going to be the one that has the black on it, so that it will not be important that it is black. And I'm just going to put the 3-in-1 glue around the opening, but back about a 1/16 to 1/8 of an inch from the opening, just so that it doesn't seep out into the opening. So just very carefully, but I want a good complete coverage. I don't want any spots where there isn't glue, or else the glitters and stuff might seep out. I'm thinking this will make a good thing to add into Brad and Anita's little care package, because they love Halloween. Now here's tricky because I got to get it in between this. And then I want to go around the dots. And then continue around the cauldron. You kind of have to work a little bit fast with this glue. It dries up fast. So then I'll set that in there. I might want to weight it down. Just hold it down for a bit. It might take a little longer to dry with the plastic on top of it because no air is getting at it. And you do want to be careful not to get too much on your card because it is acetone based. It might remove some of the color. You got to make sure it's good and dry before you put your beads in or your top piece on. So I may just set that aside for a minute while I cut out a second one, because I can't really rush it. Set that there. Maybe I'll just put, well, gotta be careful too. I can't put anything in the middle. Just give it some time. So what other, I've got lots of black beads, so let's do the bat. Now he's got some marker or something where someone has used him as a stencil. So I'm just gonna rub that a bit and see if I can get some of that off. Just, you know, Mommy Spit, Formula 409. You could try some alcohol. I might do that. Got some hand sanitizer. Trick. Just on a little bit of tissue. Not really doing it. Well, I guess it did some of it. Who knows how long that has been on there or what kind of marker it is. So I'm going to do the same thing, make myself a pattern. I think this piece is still big enough. Yeah, because this one's going to be a little easier. Well, maybe not, but I'm not going to do the bat shape. Well, yeah, I do have to because it's on the front. I don't want it to be just a rectangle. On the back, it could just be a rectangle, but on the front, I want it to follow that shape. So I'm going to follow just outside the edge. Maybe leave like that much space, like 1/8 to 1/4 in between the cutout and my zigzag. And then when I cut the clear one, it'll be a little bigger again. And then I can always trim it if it needs it. So I'll go about like that. And I'm just going to continue up around his ears first, just so I get nice, smooth curve. And then I'll do around the wings. And this is kind of tricky. It's very, I'm gonna go straight across there. It's too detailed for this. And then in here, I'm gonna just zip in a little curvy V, I guess. And then I can trace that onto the clear acetate. Where's the other half of my sheet? There it is. And I think I can get 2 of this as well. Let me just see here. Fold it right in half. Yeah, I might have to just do it on a diagonal, but it'll work. This is pretty thick, clear acetate or whatever it is. I got it in a swap, so I'm not really 100% sure what it is, but it's like a very stiff plastic. It's not just from packaging. I could draw, or I'm gonna just try it freehand with a little bit of tape. Some tape out again. Cauldron up there. I want to lose my cauldron. I was looking to see if I still had the other pieces of tape, but I don't see them anywhere. just going to do at the head. And again at the feet. A little bit of tape. And then I'm just going to hold them together. And I'm going to go just a little wider than I did before. And hope that it's not too wide for the card. But I can always trim it if it is. But again, I just want to get that swoop so it's nice. Actually, it's a little bit wider over here than it is over there. That's okay though. And then trying to still have a curve on these. It's not so easy to cut a curve with the with this really stiff material and these pinking shears. And I'm going pretty close to my original edge there. And now just to do the little, I'm going to fix this so that it's closer to the same. Give myself some clear confetti here. Cut in my little V. Might have to snip that with my little baby scissors. Just trying to get it cut really close but not too far, which is not easy with the zigzag. You don't know if that last little zag is cutting or not. But I have these little baby scissors that can finish it off. And then again, I want to make sure I keep them both the same way up, because even though this one is a fairly symmetrical shape, I want them to fit right. So again, I'm going to do the back side first. So it'll be this way. And I don't have much overlap. I maybe should have went a little further, but we're going to give it a go. And just keep it to a very small bead and very close to the edge. And by the time we get this on, the other one should be ready to put the sprinkles in. I got a snowman ATC that was done as a shaker. It's not winter yet, but I just couldn't resist it. I love snowman things. And I love shaker. I've always liked snow globes, and I've never really had one, which is strange. Not a nice one. Might have had like cheap ones when I was growing up, but I can't really remember having one. Maybe that's something I should put on my Christmas wish list, is a nice snow globe. Okay, so that needs to set up. There is a bit of squeeze out, but if it dries, it won't be a problem. So I'm going to set this one back up here and bring the cauldron back down. Put a few things away. Doesn't feel like squishy or like it's moving. The glue that's exposed is dry. So I think we're good to go ahead and try to finish this off. Just want to clean that surface while we have access to it. So I'm just going to use a tiny bit of hand sanitizer to do that too. See a few little spots on it. And I don't think that the alcohol is going to affect the acetone glue because it's two different things. So I was thinking I would do black and green in the cauldron. So I have some green chunky glitter. So I'm going to put some of that in. And then I've got black iridescent, tiny little seed beads. And they're actually a bit of purple in them too, which is fine. So I've got a little plastic spoon that I can dig those out with. Yeah, these are more purpley than black, but that's okay. It kind of has that witch's brew coloring. And then just make sure, oh, I gotta put some in the bubbles. You can't have too many or else they won't move. I might have too much in this. And I need to get it spread out so that it's all nice and flat. And then if there's some space, I think they'll move. Maybe I need to remove some just to ensure that they're going to have enough room to move around and shake. And I don't want them kind of like thicker than the card, so I had to find the smallest beads that I have, which is these tiny seed beads. I don't have any sequins, or I would just use sequins in there. I've got some green sequins, but it's stars, so I didn't want to use that. Use that somewhere else. And now, find my clear cauldron cover. It goes like this. Yeah, I think that's going to work. I might remove a few more beads. One stick bead in there, I'll take him out. And I have a couple of little bits of marker on here too. So let's just see before I close this up if I can get rid of them. A lot of markers are alcohol based, so I thought this might work. It's working a little bit. And I should have done this before the beads were in there, so if you have something like this to do, do it first. Okay, let's go for it. So I'm going to go around the bubbles. I go as close and tidy as I can because this is the front. And then I was thinking if it doesn't look that great, then I could put some ribbon or some string on top of the acetate to kind of give it a border. Maybe some fine black satin ribbon or something. I got a couple of beads stuck in my cap there. And that bead stuck in the glue will never do. this down on the first try. Be good. And then that has to set up before we can shake it to make sure it works. So I would like to weight this time. I guess my box of beads will work. I'll just set that on top. Move that whole thing over. See if our bat's ready to go. It seems to be pretty good. And just clean this up a bit. A little bit of sanitizer. And just get anything that might prevent the glue from sticking. We'll get that off too. Sticky fingers and stuff. Okay, so for the bat, I'm just going to use those dark beads. Actually, I've got some black ones, and because this card is the lime green, I think that will look really neat. Just black. I got lime green stars, so maybe I'll put some stars in there. It would almost be good to have a thicker card for these. I'm just shaking them to get them kind of all spread out. And then the other bat. It's going to just fit. So let's get some glue around the opening. Get those green stars back in there. I'm going to have to, I don't usually buy any sequins or this table scatter shapes. Any that I have has been given to me, but I'm starting to see that I'm going to need some. So I'm going to start at the tip of this wing here. Do a nice small bead. This might have been a job for the micro tip, but I didn't feel like fighting with it today. Just place that on there. It is squeezing out a little bit. So before I put the weight on it, I don't want it to stick to the weight. So I will just, oh, I see what's going on there. There's a little piece of bead underneath holding it up. That's not any good. I'll just switch back to this cauldron here and see how it did and put the weight on the bat. So we've got a nice little shaker. I'll have to let it dry overnight to see how well it's really going to stick. It seems like it's going to be good. It has equal glue all the way around. And you can shake it. It's great for kids that like sensory stuff. Now it's really, really small things, so you want to be careful how young of a child you give it to. But I don't intend to give it to a child. I'm sending these to adults. To be drying pretty quickly, as you would expect with this acetone based glue. So there's the bat. The stars aren't moving as much as the beads are. That's all right too. They must be kind of clinging to the plastic, because I did notice it was kind of clingy. So I may do a couple more today, or I may leave it for later. I might have some people that want to do a couple of them with me, so I might leave the pumpkin, for instance, for another day. Besides, I'm trying to do a little bit of everything today. So I hope you enjoyed this. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Most of all, have a spooky day.